On a blustery Labor Day in 2017, flames, given birth by fireworks in the hands of a 15-year-old, inhaled the famous Columbia Gorge wind and grew exponentially. It stranded 152 hikers on the Eagle Creek Trail, some stuck overnight before being rescued. By the next morning, the fire had grown to 3,000 acres. It soon threatened the town of Cascade Locks, which evacuated. The fire continued to gain strength, and pushed by west winds, made a run through large swaths of the wilderness and sent smoke into the greater Portland area.
All this smoke and all the ash will affect our health.
The Eagle Creek fire would eventually consume 48,000 acres, force 9,000 trees to be cut down before they fell, disrupt the lives of countless people living nearby, and close the area's most popular hiking trail for 4 years. The fire burned for 3 months.
Immediately after the fire, all this vegetation was gone, with the exception of the large trees that survived the fire. This would have all been black, and pretty much everything was consumed.
Chris Harper is an assistant fire management officer with the U.S. Forest Service. He also loves hiking in the Columbia Gorge.
I have a deep connection to the Columbia Gorge, and these are trails that I visit, and I recreate out here too. So certainly that was something that I was thinking about from the very beginning of this fire.
We met up with him recently to take a look at how nature has returned to Eagle Creek. The first thing you notice are the trees. Yes, some stand stiff and gray, already dead, waiting for time and gravity to pull them down. But others are flourishing in new patches of sunlight made available by the burned canopy above.
You get big trees like this that have a lot of bark, and we're tall enough to avoid a lot of the heat from the fire, and we're able to survive. And a lot of trees died, but a lot of trees were able to live through the fire.
While we were out, we met Kim Owen, who moved to Mosier just to be closer to the hiking trails of the gorge. He remembers a mix of feelings as the fire raged.
Saddening. It was a tragedy that our favorite hiking area was decimated so heavily during that fire.
Kim's with the Pacific Crest Trail Association, which helped move boulders and smaller rocks off the trail and repair heavy damage here.
Oh, this is gorgeous. This is our first time back in this particular trail since the burn, other than actually doing trail maintenance. And I'm amazed. Other than a few dead trees, you can hardly tell that there was a burn.
We also met Nadia Gray and Daniil Fashoff exploring the trail with their 2 dogs. She grew up hiking here with her dad, and like so many, watched the fire grow on news feeds.
I was heartbroken. I knew that it would take a long recovery. It was something really special, and it was, whether you want to call it an accident or what, it was a piece of human ignorance, and it shows just how incredibly delicate this space is and why it needs to be treated respectfully.
5 years after the worst fire here in modern times, the ground around the Eagle Creek Trail teems with plants. Yes, you will see burned stumps and trees with black bark, reminders of a difficult time. And now, a second chance to appreciate nature.
It's so refreshing to be out here now, and I think people have learned that you can't take it for granted. Everyone's a little bit more polite on the trail. Everyone's giving each other a little bit more space. I'm seeing less damage to the trail. People aren't picking as much. People aren't littering as much. And I'm so glad that it's back.
Many are glad, including Chris Harper from the Forest Service.
The fire wasn't an end point. It's not something that destroyed the gorge or anything like that. It changed it, and changed it in pretty significant ways. But, the gorge is still here, and, the vegetation will grow back. And there's still lots of beautiful things to see here. So, it was a big impact, and it changed a lot of stuff, but, it didn't destroy anything necessarily.